Hey guys! I thought now would be a good time to do the next video in my series. And this one is about finding your friends. And I know that, for the last 7 months, it's now been 7 months that we've been in this pandemic. And for these last 7 months, I'm sure that a lot of you have been sitting inside your homes without many people to talk to in person. So it's important that you reach out to friends, by phone or by FaceTime or whatever. But it's important that we know who our good friends are. And for me, it actually took me a long time to figure that out. Friends are people who you can trust, who you can talk to when you're upset about something. But one thing that I don't think is addressed enough is knowing who a good friend is not. And I think I have the perfect example of that, because there's this guy who I've known for 16 years now, since 2004. Believe it or not, we actually met on a website called Muppet Central because both of us love Sesame Street. And I mean, if you think about it, that's a really hard interest to share with someone, because not very many people love Sesame Street as much as I do. And I've known this guy, like I said, I've known him since 2004, and he's actually stayed at my house a few times. And it's like when he would come here, well, the first time at least, we pretty much just watched Sesame Street together, because that's what we enjoy doing. But then, well, his life started to change for the worst, and he started to get really depressed. And he would tell me about it, and it would actually put a lot of depressing thoughts inside my head. And honestly, I think I think he is part of the reason for a lot of my depression over the last several years. And the thing is, I feel like I can relate to him in a lot of ways. Because just like me, he's had like a really hard time with girls and getting a girlfriend. And I feel like I can sort of relate to that, but I do have to say that, all this COVID stuff has really changed me in a lot of ways. I feel like I need people who can actually comfort me and understand me and understand what I'm going through and what a lot of us are going through in this pandemic. And he doesn't really seem like that type. Because he actually has been working this whole time because he's an essential worker. But he doesn't really seem like he can relate to it, as much as other people can. But the thing is, there's a lot of things about me. There's a lot of things about him that bother me. And some of this stuff about him has been the same since 2004, but has never bothered me until now. First off, he often calls me like really weird names. And more recently, sometimes like when he would call me and I wouldn't answer the phone, he would like leave a really weird message, oftentimes pretending to be Sesame Street characters. And it's clear that I think he thought he was being funny, but I really didn't think anything of it, because I knew it was him. And for a while, I think he kind of got the drift that I didn't really like it, yet he kept doing it. But then after a while he stopped. He hasn't done it in a while, but there's still a lot of things about him that bother me. Like he can be very aggressive, and like a lot of the time he would like ask me to send him like copies of Sesame Street episodes. And 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 of course, I would usually agree to do it, but then it's like he would be very pushy about it. He'd be like, "Did you do it yet? Did you do it yet?" And then it's like I felt like I was obligated to do it. And the truth is, it's like I've done all this stuff for him, but he has never really done anything for me in return. Well, actually, not too long ago, he actually did. He actually bought me a shirt that he custom made for me. But it's like I didn't ask him for it or anything, and I asked him, "Why did you why did you feel the need to do that? It's not my birthday." And he said, "Well, he wants to do nice things for people, not just girls he likes." Because I guess he recently fell for this girl at work, and I guess he like got her a gift or some sort, and she seemed to act okay to it, but apparently it creeped her out, and he heard that through the grapevine. So I guess he was kind of trying to make something creepy that he did not look so creepy. And of course a lot of one thing that recently happened to him is that like for me anyway, I rely on Facebook, for a lot of my contact with a lot of the people in my life. But he recently got permanently banned from Facebook. And he says he doesn't know why, but I'm guessing it's because he was misusing it and probably being aggressive to other people, because I'm pretty sure that they're being a lot more strict with that stuff. I know that he's had like several accounts over the years, and I think he's tried to get back on, and he'd usually have an account for like a few hours, but then he'd just get banned again. It's like they've totally banned his IP address or something. And because he's not on Facebook, he's not going to be able to see this video, so I feel like I can talk about it. But a lot of people have told me over the years that he really does not sound like a good friend at all. And I think I'm finally beginning to see that. And of course, if he does ever get back on if he does ever manage to get back on Facebook, I'll probably end up taking this down, because of course I wouldn't want him to hear all this. And I would never tell him this, because in some ways I actually love him like a brother. And a lot of the time he's actually cut me out of his life for things that I've done. And a lot of it I did not think was very reasonable, and I didn't even agree with the way that he cut me off. What he would do is he would just write like a long, nasty message, stating that I was out of his life, and he would say why, but then he would like immediately block me so I couldn't respond. And it just didn't seem fair, because it doesn't really allow back and forth content. But I do agree that there really is no good way to cut somebody out of your life, even if you're being polite. It's still gonna hurt. And I'm sure that this would hurt him if he saw this. But it's like I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to all of you about how I feel. And like I like and since this. But another thing that I wanted to say about the pandemic, and I actually just heard that I guess yesterday was like National Mental Healthness Awareness Day or something. And, of course, during the pandemic, we've been more concerned about people's physical health. But sometimes being too concerned about our physical health can make us, be more concerned about our mental health. And, people have mental health more now than ever, I think. Like, even people who didn't have it before. And to be honest, even though we're 7 months in some ways, I feel like we're going backwards. I feel like we're almost back to where we were in March. And I think a lot of it is because, now the seasonal depression is kicking in. And a lot of people, including me, I think have always had trouble with that. But yeah. But yeah, I guess I've already gone on for 10 minutes, so I probably won't really say too more about this, but sometimes but see, the other thing is, about, when Andy, okay, I just told you his name. When he got me that shirt, I thought it was nice, but I feel like it can't really compensate for all the horrible things that he's done. Because another thing that he did not too long ago that really made me mad is that he ruined my friendship with somebody else. And, of course, the person talked to me about it, and I tried telling them that I did not tell him to say those things, but they didn't seem to believe it. And he actually asked me to send him something very shortly after that. And I'm like, what? After you ruin my friendship with someone? I don't really feel like sending you anything after you ruin my friendship with someone. And then he cut me off again and said, well, maybe he should just get out of my life forever. And sad to say, that might not be a bad idea. Because, he stayed with me 2 different times. Once in 2004, shortly after he met, but then another time in 2011. But see, I told him that, him staying with me, was just temporary, but he stayed with me for 2 long months. And I kept telling him that he couldn't be here forever. But eventually, I think that really hurt him, and he just moved out and packed all his stuff and went away and never come back. And I actually wondered if I would ever hear from him again, but then 2 months later, he came back to me. But he's cut me off several other times since then, obviously. So I really don't know what to say. But this is really all I have to say for right now. And I want to thank you guys for watching. I don't know what my next video is going to be on, or even if I'll be doing another one in this series. I just wanted to address more some of the stuff that I didn't get to address in my initial video, which I did a month ago. Alright, bye guys.